What up, everybody? I'm your host, JP, and this is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everyone.
And welcome back to another episode of the FIlmBros podcast. All right, y'all. So we are back for part 2 of our ranking of the live-action Spider-Man. So if you guys have not heard our first part yet, it came out on Saturday. What are you guys doing? Go check that out. There's a bunch of episodes that if you guys haven't heard, if you guys are new to this channel or this podcast, go ahead and check out right now. You can interact with us. You can tell us about a movie you guys want us to review. You can support us in a big way. Josh, let them know where they can let us know.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at FIlmBros Podcast. We post when new episodes are up. You get us up there for any news or movies you want us to cover. So go ahead and do all that. And then listen to us anywhere you get your podcast at FIlmBros Podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, things of that nature. Buzzsprout, link is in those bios. Support us in a big way. Special perks to those that subscribe, shout outs on episodes, things like that. And then subscribe to our YouTube at FIlmBros Podcast.
Yes, sir. And with that, we're just going to jump right into it. So quick recap. Like I said, if you guys want to hear our full thoughts, go ahead and check out our older episode. But we basically went through 4 of the 8 movies already. So with that being said, we are going to just jump right into our number 4, our 4th slot. Like I said, if you guys want to check it out, I know you guys are like, hey, man, at least fucking tell us what your other 4 are. No. Go check out the old episode.
Exactly.
We go into detail. Go check it out. Stop this one. Go back, check it out.
Yep.
Come back. So, Josh, go ahead and hit us with your number 4th slot of live action.
Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3
Spider-Man
from the
3.
Raimi trilogy,
Yep.
right?
And
look, man, and I get it. I'm already gonna say I get why it's there, but I'm gonna hear you out.
what?
I get it.
You want to assume you got it?
I get it. Go ahead.
Look, this movie, I established in the last episode that I understand the gripes. We probably share the same gripes on this one.
Yeah.
Even with all that, I still think it holds up. I can't think of it going any lower. The performances here are great. I love
Even Kristen Dunst.
I think she does a little better here, personally. Yeah. Her subplot is kind of I don't like how they made her bounce back to Harry or whatever, but she does fine. I'm not even talking about the important ones. Toby, James Franco, Sandman, Venom, things like that. Like, they do really well. Hell, Willem Dafoe comes back, and he still delivers it in his little line too, in his little scene. This movie, just as crunched up as it is, and studio interference as it has, I honestly think it still holds up very well. Fight scenes, the web swinging, obviously 10 times better than where it started. With the 2002 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Plot wise, I can acknowledge that, yes, it is very stuffed and whatever else. But I think Raimi did what he could. Raimi did what he could best with what was going on, even with rewriting it during shooting and whatnot. So, as much as he feels like this is a shameful way to end his trilogy, I for one see it as a little gem in the rough. It still has a lot of positives to it. The fight scene, like I said, fight scenes are great. That first one where Harry is fighting Peter on the rooftops and that the ring is slipping away and stuff. It's very nice. Again, acknowledge Bully Maguire. It's there. I get it. I know. It's still kind of funny, but
I was gonna say I feel like you liked the movie because of Bully Maguire. I feel like
it's funny.
I feel like the hip thrusting got you.
Yeah, very much. Very hypnotizing. But yeah, I think this movie for me is just 4th slot. It's not the best, but obviously not the worst for me. So very good.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 is overstuffed. Like I said, I like certain aspects of it still. There's still great stuff in there. I just feel like my expectations were completely let down, and I already told this story. So if you guys want to hear it, go check it out in our older episode.
That's the thing, though, right? Because you had those expectations, and what's different here is that I remember that novel. I remember you having it. I remember only going to look at the pictures in it because it had pictures from the movie, and I was like, that looks cool. And then I was like, oh, this is the movie. But like, fresh off the first one, and then the second one, and the third one, even with all its flaws, like I said at the time, I didn't know it, but that was like the fitting end for me. Now I can look at it and acknowledge all those flaws and stuff, but like for at a time, that was like a nice ending. And then I was waiting for the fourth one that we never got. But yeah,
we never got. No, very sad.
mm-hmm.
Very sad times. But for my number 4 slot, Josh,
Is it gonna be TASM 2?
it's not. It's actually TASM 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's TASM 1 because, look, man, for me, I love this movie to death, bro. I honestly thought that this was, like I said, the first trailer that came out,
Mm-hmm.
that had me mesmerized, and
Yeah.
I loved it. At first, when I was a kid, when I was younger, I think I was like a teenager at the time, I thought the suit looked like the coolest thing ever. I was like, oh shit, that's different, I really liked the different. And then it just completely, like, as time kind of went on, I was like, okay, well, it's a little too different for me. They kind of went a little too much left field with it.
Yeah.
Even though I do like the pattern, I think it's more the eyes itself I didn't really enjoy. But I do like the whole Uncle Ben thing. I know that they rehashed it, but I kind of enjoyed this one a little bit better. It kind of felt like he actually had a hand in it over the Raimi one. Whereas the Raimi one, he kind of just let him go into an elevator, and then whatever happened out there, that wasn't on you, bro. Like that, like that. You just let him out the elevator, but I guess a point of inception, it has to happen, right? I like that.
Canon event.
Yeah, I like that. He was just there. I did like the fight scenes with Lizard. Oh, dude, the fucking classroom or the library fight when he stops the chair or the table from hitting Stan Lee, and it comes back. When he the whole love relationship between him and Gwen, when he was like, oh, what is it? Are you afraid of heights or something? And then he kind of just like threw her out the window or something.
He's like, I'm throwing out the window now.
And and threw her out. Like I really like their dynamic. I love Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. First of all, number 1 in my book, since Easy A and all that stuff. Seeing her with blonde hair and everything like that, I was like, okay, I'm in this. I'm in this for the long ride. I like the ending scene. I thought the CGI was great in this one. I thought CGI was great when they were turning into lizards. When he was swinging through the city, that one scene where he was like, he felt so down, and he like picked his ass back up and fucking webbed the bullet hole that was on his leg, and
inspirational.
That shit. And then like the crane, I guess it was kind of weird how like all the crane men were just like, come on guys, we gotta help him out, and they but I think it was still like an inspirational moment. I love the swinging in this one, and in the second one is just chef's kiss. I fucking love the way that he twirls with the web, and the way like he actually moves. The ending where he's jumping through all the it's kind of like a POV shot, huh, where he's like running through or whatever, and then you get that one shot where he just like webs the screen, and you see the webs coming out, and it glistens and stuff. The music, his music was so triumphant. It felt like Superman music to me. Like it was so like, it didn't feel like it was more like or whatever. Like I don't know, like Man of Steel level.
It was modernized. It was modernized music. The OG trilogy was before the revolutionary times, was just in your face like triumph music. This one had a lot of subtle stuff. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so it was great for me. I fucking love this movie. Okay,
that's fine. I maybe a little too low for me. That's the best I can say. I do agree with you. Like, it is a really good movie. It does have good stuff in it. No gripes, like at all.
The gripe that I have,
besides the suit anyway.
Yeah, the suit, and then I don't like that revenge plot where he just goes and beats up random blonde-haired people all over the place.
People that kill his uncle.
Well, and I understand that, but like, and I understand the blind rage and him wanting to, just go and capture the dude, and he was just going all over the place. But I'm just like, that shouldn't have. If they would have made it pay off with something, it would have been different. But at one point, he kind of just drops it, and he's just like, "No, I can't do this anymore.
Gotta do better.
Yeah, I got to do better." But nothing really smacked him in the face to do that. If anything, he just kind of built up his suit, and then once he had his full suit, he was just like, "All right, well." On to bigger and badder things, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, you could have at least closed up that arc where, he couldn't find him, and, maybe he would have found him and let him go or something, or like took him to jail, or had that rage where, I know they kind of teased it with Andrew Garfield's where, he was like, oh, I had a blind rage after Gwen died or something. Like,
Yeah.
if he would have had that blind rage, kind of like how, it kind of showed when he was going after these bad guys and there was a payoff to that, it would have been way better. But I just think that kind of left a little bit to be desired, unless I'm missing something. I don't remember him capturing him at all.
Well, no, he didn't capture him.
He kind of just let him go, didn't he?
Well,
After the whole car thing, the whole like bridge thing,
yeah,
and he saved the kid and everything.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I think that scene kind of plays into the whole dynamic of losing Uncle Ben and all that, because I mean he didn't know it at the time, but well, he was like his dad, and then I guess it's a lot of like, oh, Peter being the one that lost the father. What's it gonna be like for that father to lose a kid, and then he gains that respect and all that, or the knowledge to grow and be like, no, I got to do better.
Yeah.
Than stopping petty crimes. Although that blind rage is very in character for him. There was a time where he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, because even in the comics, there's times where Peter gets his powers and he immediately takes it out on Flash. Kind of like how he did in this one, where like he with the basketball scene, or I guess it doesn't really count, but right after he loses Uncle Ben and Flash is trying to be like, oh, I'm sorry, or whatever, and then like he holds him up, like it's things like that where you can tell like they implemented his rage into it. Like he's not this perfectly level-headed guy. He does have rage in him and things like that,
anger and stuff like that. And I think that also plays into like, because I think he played a marvelous Spider-Man. Peter Parker, I guess, depending on if you like the modernized nerd kind of thing, like he's a skater, recluse kind of stuff, whatever. Like, I personally dug it. I know people didn't like that he wasn't like this nerd like how Peter Parker was in the Raimi trilogy, but I kind of vibed with this one. I liked it because it was just more, he's a nerd and he's more of an outsider, and I kind of liked it. I do think Andrew Garfield's too cool to play an outsider, in my opinion. Even when he was just sitting there lifting up his glasses and everything like that, I was like, nah, this guy's not a nerd. Like, why are they bullying him like this?
Here's the thing about that, right? Because by all means, Peter in the comics, he isn't ugly. You know what I mean? He's not ugly. He's just a nerd. And because nerds at the time were uncool, he was just not cool. So I think that's what they got right with Andrew Garfield's Peter, where like he's not ugly, but he's just a nerd and he's a recluse and he doesn't really interact with people. And then Flash bullying him is just that cherry on top, where it's like it really hammers home that
he doesn't know what he has.
He's not cool. And people, same thing. I'll touch upon it now, so I don't have to later. The skateboarding thing is a way to get around New York. That's the best way I can put it.
I know, but the thing is that they made him seem cool, though. That's the thing. Not even dorky, because if it would have been like, oh, get off the skateboard or whatever before you get in trouble, and he like kind of slipped off the skateboard because he got freaked out and he picked up the skateboard or something like that, that would have been different. But he just kind of was like, you know what I mean? Like he was like a rebellious kid instead of an actual like, having some kind of dorky side to him. He seemed like a cool guy with a little bit of like anxiety to speak to people.
I don't know. I always saw it as like he just uses it to get around New York. It doesn't really make him cool or not cool to skateboard, if that makes any sense.
No. Well, I mean, it's just not the skateboard, but it's also like the little things too where, I like where he stood up for the other kid. And I like that they actually showed him getting beat up, but then the whole basketball thing, that was unnecessary. They shouldn't really have done that either, because he shouldn't have used his powers in that way.
I don't know. I kind of like that they implemented that, because even in Raimi's trilogy, same thing. same thing. He fights Flash. You know, after bullying him for however long, that they just established that, oh no, he's gonna fight him, and then he's gonna learn from it. Well, right in that moment, actually, with Toby's Peter, he hits him. Everyone looks at him like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, you're a fucking freak." Whatever they were, the reactions were. But you can tell that they were all kind of like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And he was just like, "I shouldn't have done that shit." Like, you see the remorse in his face right after hitting him, and then he runs because I mean, at that point he got shit to do, Spider-Man things to do. but like, I really like that they hammer in that thing, because even after that basketball scene, Uncle Ben is the one that's like, "What is wrong with you? Like, why would you do that? Like, even if he did hit you, that's not how you do things. Whatever. You don't humiliate him like that."
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. But to Peter, it's just like, why? I was being bullied. He hit me. I'm gonna do this. Granted, he learns not to do that again. But in the moment, it's a lot like, I'm gonna school him real quick, and then he does. So I kind of enjoyed that little thing, because it shows that Peter is still. He's had that courage, but because of, I guess, the confidence that the powers give him, it really gives him the moment of like, no, I should probably hold back from doing this.
Yeah.
Like, one and done type shit.
Yeah.
I do like that it was Uncle Ben that was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Anything else?
No, I think everything else about the movie, I would just say, yeah, just his take on Peter Parker was kind of meh. I think that they could have done a little bit, gone a little bit nerdier with him to make him feel nerdy, because even in the second one, like, that nerdiness just completely goes away, 100%, and he's just a funny guy, and I'm just like, well, it is what it is, and then it translates well into Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong, but as a Peter Parker, like, you have to have that persona, like, kind of like what Tom Holland says, like, that you shouldn't do sports, like, because you didn't before, so you shouldn't now.
Yeah.
Same thing with Andrew Garfield. Like, he should have known better. Like, okay, I have these powers, but I'm not gonna, I'm gonna humiliate him in a different way. Kind of like how Spider-Man humiliated him in the Raimi trilogy. How you said, he was kind of shocked about it when he like dodged all those hits, but in a way that's humiliation, and he kind of just walked away from it and left it alone, because he was like, well, I can't hit him back. If I hit him back, it's gonna be a bad thing,
Because even now that I remember, Uncle Ben tells him, he was like, what does he tell him in the car? He's like, in the Raimi trilogy, he tells him like, oh, that is this because of the fight? And he's like, no, it's not because of the fight. I'm just changing and growing or whatever. And Uncle Ben is the one that hammers in the idea, like, even if you are, like, you shouldn't have done that type shit, like, and then they have their whole argument and stuff. But I'm not too sure that it's really a gripe. I really vibe with that idea of Uncle Ben just being his compass and all that, kind of like how you were saying.
It's good.
It was good.
But what is your number 4 then?
Number 4.
Or number 3.
Number 3. Yes, number 3. I was like, we just had a whole conversation.
Yeah. Number 3. What is your number 3?
Number 3 is Raimi's first Spider-Man movie. I'm not to rehash the gripes and stuff, but I really do like this one.
The first Spider-Man, right?
Yes, Raimi's first Spider-Man movie. I really like this one. Granted, I'll tell you right now.
Top 3?
I'll tell you right now. It doesn't.
It doesn't hold up.
The some of the acting doesn't hold up, but Willem Dafoe holds up. Peter or Tobey Maguire.
Sequences.
Tobey Maguire. The action sequences, I think, do.
Not all of them.
I think so, especially that ending one.
Oh yeah, that's more.
I
think
like
Sam Raimi
story.
really went into like.
I like this one as an origin story. I think if anyone has made the blueprint, it has to be him.
Yeah, you like that he swings on nothing.
What do you mean?
You like that he swings on nothing.
He swings off buildings.
There's some buildings that aren't there that he's just swinging off of sometimes.
What is your problem?
Well, it is what it is. It doesn't hold up.
I think so.
And you think that putting it on top 3 is okay?
Yeah.
And you put all of the Watts trilogy in the back slots?
Mm-hmm. This movie, I'll say it right now so I can clip it correctly. Raimi's first Spider-Man movie, right? Follow with me?
Okay.
Still has better swinging scenes than all of Watts' trilogy combined. that dark one aside,
You know what?
it still does.
You know what? I always wondered this, but now it makes sense. But it is what you do. It is self-projection. You are the one who is smoking the pack, my boy. You is the one who is smoking the pack, my boy. You're telling me that, you know what? The Far From Home scene alone, when Peter's not in his suit and he's swinging around with just the regular mask, is a better swinging scene than all of Spider-Man 3 swinging scenes combined.
No.
How do you feel?
Ain't no
That
way.
shit's crazy to me.
No.
There's no way that you're going to say that because, don't get me wrong, Raimi did what he could with the time, and I will give him his flowers for the swinging that he did for what he did at the time. But still, they've come a long way since that. He
knows how to capture it and everything, because the way the camera moves when Peter's swinging, it gives you that momentum, like you're swinging with him. You rarely get that in the Raimi trilogy, in the Watch trilogy, and that, like, I really don't fuck with that swinging scene in No Way Home, Far From Home, and because it all ends kind of dumb. If that makes any sense.
Well, that'll lead me to my third one, but my third one is kind of it is No Way Home. That's for me.
Okay.
And I would say the swinging scene at the end of that movie is terrible. I will say that. That's like the worst swinging scene ever.
Honestly,
I hate the camera underneath him, and he's just
it's that one, and I think Far From Home's ending one was kind of ass too.
What even happened? I'm trying to think.
Well, he's swinging,
with Zendaya,
he's
and then it's
MJ.
just the scream and hand, like the Macaulay Culkin look or whatever at the end of it. I thought it was dumb too, but only because they tried to make it into a gag with MJ swinging into it. I personally thought it was funny at the time. Now when I rewatch it, I'm just like, oh, I know it's coming, so like I already know she's gonna be screaming over the swinging and shit like that. So I'm just like, I'm with it, but not 100% with it at the same time. So, but still better swinging scene than
no.
I like the first person POV camera on the chest like shots. I like those swinging shots. I will acknowledge that there's some bad ones.
I do think Watts just didn't have the eye, and I know people were trying to make a big deal out of it. Oh, the people that worked on TASM 2 swinging scene are going to be doing the swinging scenes for the No Way Home or Far From Home, the both of them, right? But they felt so lackluster. There was nothing nice about them.
Nobody's gonna ever beat the TASM swinging scenes. I think those are gonna always be the like peak to chase after. But at least you having the first Spider-Man as your top 3, and me having the last Spider-Man as my top 3. I think I don't see where the disconnect is. It's probably just the way that it's made up. But I loved the third John Watts one, No Way Home, because of the fact that they brought all 3 Spider-Men together. It was refreshing to see Billy Maguire back. It was nice to see Andrew Garfield back as Spider-Man as well. I will say they downgraded their suits, but I understand they're not in a big chunk of the movie, so they're not going to have, obviously, the same suits that they did when they first were shown. But I did like that, and I did like the fact that, that No Way Home was actually the first one to have made sense of the inclusion of a Marvel character. Like Doctor Strange to me kind of made sense being in there. I know a lot of people were saying like, oh wait, what do you call it? But he would have never done that shit, or he would have never done that spell. But I'm like, nah, he feels like somebody who would have done that shit 100%.
I was on the fence of that too, though. At first when the first trailer started coming out, because I was like, why would he do that? Why would he listen to a little kid's problems and then try and fix it or whatever?
Yeah.
And then I came to the realization, like, this is the same guy who stole Tamahaj's books to learn on himself dark magic or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, so there's that one, and I think with like the way the villains were brought back, I don't like the de-aging so much. I would have wished that they would have gotten new characters to play like different universe villains, but I did like that they did bring them back. Dr. Octopus coming back was amazing, especially because he was like the greatest aspect of Spider-Man 2. Green Goblin coming back, I like you said, I feel as well what you said basically with the Watts trilogy, I kind of felt happened with Spider-Man 1 and 2 where like Green Goblin kind of carried the movie. I kind of felt like Dr. Octopus was carrying that movie. This one I kind of feel like the villains were heavily carrying this movie for sure. Tom Holland as well, you know, with his execution of, you know, playing that broken Spider-Man, even though, you know, he kind of gets broken in every single movie and has to build himself back up. I think you're right. I think there is a repeatery offender here, but I'm admitting it now, but there's still some evidence to be seen. But
you get the picture I'm painting.
Yeah, and yeah, so I would say it's okay. I think if we were to cut off that last swing, I think it would have been 100% amazing. But you know, the last swing is in there, and then I didn't like Ned having powers. I fucking hated that shit.
Me too.
100%. I fucking
same boat.
That was one thing that I hated, and then I hated that Flash was a big inclusion into the movie as well. He shouldn't, like, him being that bridge to like help him get into whatever university that he was getting into.
Boston.
I think as well him leaving when Green Goblin first shows up, I think that kind of undermines a lot of whatever happens later on in the movie. But I think, you know, the fight scene later on really makes up for it. I think the whole losing Aunt May really makes up for it towards the end. I think the nostalgia factor really makes up for this movie too. I like the scene where, you know, I know it's small, but Daredevil's in there for a little bit with the lawyer, and I can acknowledge the CGI is bad with the brick. That's fine. I've already come to terms with these newer movies are going to have terrible CGI at one point. Peter Parker outsmarting Doctor Strange was a highlight of the movie too. That swinging scene was pretty good in that one as well. Him jumping through like all these like different dimensions, a mirror dimension or whatever. Yeah. No Way Home has a lot more ups and downs, and I will say that it's one of the better Spider-Man movies. Top 3 for sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think so. Obviously. But damn, you said something and it made me like,
what'd I say?
I can't remember. You touched up on a lot of things right there. What was it? What did you say? Oh, okay. Aunt May's death. I've said this to you before.
Refresh me.
I don't like that she died. I don't like the reason why she died, if that makes sense. She like if she was gonna go, it should have been down the line or something like that. I don't vibe with this at all. Okay, and now I remember what I was talking about too. So after this, but like just to hammer in the idea of great power comes great responsibility. Like I don't know if that was the right way to do it. I don't vibe with that. Like to be like
to use her.
Yeah, well, yeah, use her because you know people were that was one of the big complaints.
You just
about
don't like
thing.
women.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Go.
What? Wait, no, because she was hot. I liked her. She was hot, but like she didn't really do much. And then, well, I guess from Homecoming when Peter's like, "What are you talking about? I can't tell her nothing," because then she'll think like she'll be scared or whatever. This and that. And then in Far From Home, they play it as a gag that you're Spider-Man, yay or whatever, and she's like supporting him and stuff, which I don't think that was a good call either. But just the fact that they used her to hammer in the idea of great power comes great responsibility, just to have them say it, even though Peter kind of got that idea in Civil War, like I don't know if that was to please fans or not. I don't know what that was, but I didn't like it. I didn't like that.
I think that was to please fans from Civil War. I think that was another like fan servicey thing that happened, but I did like it because at least we were able to see the pain because in the beginning he couldn't tell her anything, but then she became like his partner in crime, and that they even hammered that in when you know the cops were there saying like, oh, you can go to jail for allowing this minor to do these kinds of things or whatever. And I think they played on it well to the point where it made sense and it made for an impactful moment at the end of the movie. She was his big help throughout the movies, even even to the point where like when she didn't know any of that stuff, like she was still like his crutch, his little backbone, somebody that he would go talk to feel better.
I don't know.
And they build that relationship instead of they got rid of Uncle Ben kind of early, obviously. Civil War, you didn't even see him. But for them to build on a relationship for 3 movies and then have that severely cut down by something that he could have prevented if he would have just sent them back like he was supposed to, I think that makes for an impactful moment, 100%.
No.
I think that whole scene, that whole moment, and then even him talking about it with the other Spider-Man too, or with Ned and them before, like that just
that scene was nice. I did like that one. What I didn't like though, that I just remembered midway, was that I didn't like that they downplayed their backstories a little bit in that whole, when they're like in the lab or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know it's not their movie, but you're gonna include them. You kind of have to give them some attention. Like when Ned is like, "Oh, what happened to your best friend?" or whatever, or he asks him, "Do you have a Ned in your thing?" And he's like, "No, but I had a best friend or whatever. I killed him." And I was like, that isn't what happened." Or he tried to kill him and then he died. And I was like, that's not what happened. That's a terrible way to downplay these guys' histories. And then they turn around and do great things. Andrew Garfield catching MJ, redeeming himself in that manner is nice. I did like that, but like, there was just a lot of downplaying on their history that I wasn't really vibing with.
But you said it yourself, it's not their movie.
Well, yeah, but so you're going to include them. They should get some attention.
Yeah, but I mean,
they gave some attention to the bad guys.
Does it not make sense
that 6 of them?
Huh?
That they gave them to the bad guys and there's 6 of them.
Not really. They just kind of blanketed statement, all of them. Oh yeah, you guys were brought here before and you guys are worried about dying or getting sent back. That basically was the blanket statement for all of them. At least with them 3, they kind of dove into their backstory a little bit. They gave you that little bit, but they're not going to completely, I think even that, if you notice, even that little tidbit where they're like, "Oh yeah, I lost control" or something like that. Like, we didn't jump into Toby's history that much, but him saying like, "Oh yeah, I lost control," whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's what made a lot of people automatically just be like, TASM 3. It has me screaming out TASM 3. So I think they were trying to minimize that as much as they can by feeding into it, but not overfeeding. And they overfed with kind of like Andrew Garfield and all that stuff. But I think that's because they kind of had a plan with him, 100%.
I don't know. I don't really vibe with that. They were. It was enough to make me question it because, like I said, they gave it to everyone else, but they really downplayed on the fact that Harry was Peter's best friend.
And they're not gonna bring up James Franco either. He's kind of been blackballed from like movies.
By when this movie was coming out?
Yeah, he was already done. Oh. Seth Rogen doesn't even work with him anymore.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, so I think that was another thing that could have been an outside play towards it too. So I don't know. That could
either way. I kind of wasn't vibing with that too much.
Yeah, but what is your number 2 then? I know you don't agree with me with number 3, but that's fine. What is your numero dos? We already know we're almost there, man.
It's the Amazing Spider-Man.
The first one.
Yes.
Way higher than what I put it.
I really like what they did with this one. Obviously origin story wise. This one to me still makes me like emotional. Like everything that you said about it, I agree with. Like the music is triumphant. The scenes really hammer home the idea of like when you have to be sad, it's sad, and when it's time to feel the thrill and action, it does that. Like these movies just do. That movie does really well at just conveying the emotion that it needs to and making you feel a type of way. Same thing with the second one. It just that one just got thrown in the gutter because of all the shit that was in it. But like this one really has me to a hold because I can rewatch it and it still hits every time. The suit, I really like the suit. I know people call it a basketball or whatever. I don't really care. I just like it. I know TASM 2 has a better suit and I will reign that one supreme. But I like the suit for what it is. Gwen Stacy, again, loved her. The The Lizard. I like the Lizard's performance here. I did like the scenes with Uncle Ben and stuff. Like I said, this movie is just very emotional. It does really good things. Swinging A1, like perfection. Like if the first one wasn't there, this would be top spot.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But I do agree with you with all those. I can't really say I disagree. I think that there's a lot to be given. I even like the scenes too where like he does nerdy shit where it's like you know, when he's in the sewer tunnels and he put all the webs through the tunnels and everything to feel the vibrations like a spider. Like that shit's cool. Him crawling was cool. The scenes in the, like I said, in the hallways, that shit was cool with the lockers and all that. That was honestly top tier, like Spider-Man shit. And I don't know, man. I see why you put it there, so I can't really argue with you. I think number 2 is great. But my number 2 is Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I think it's top tier.
Yeah.
I think it does what it needs to do. 100% the action scenes hold up. Dr. Octopus and his arms, that one scene that has like that little hint of like Raimi horror where like they're in the doctor's office and you know all the saws are cutting down and all that. That shit's amazing. What was it? With your number 2, and I know that you kind of put it high and you said about the suit and everything like that too, but what was your gripes with that one?
Oh, Tasm 2?
Yeah, do you have any, them being this high, is there any to not like? Anything?
Not really, because I really love this movie.
You're in awe of it?
It just has to, like it does something different. And at the time, I couldn't wrap my head around that because I was like, it's really good, and I can't really fathom why.
There has to be something holding it back from number 1, though.
Just the fact that the first one exists, that the thing that's blocking it exists.
Is that one movie exists? Okay, so Spider-Man 2 for me, then, I love it. I think it's great. It's a fun movie. I think the scenes hit home. I love the how in the beginning it wasn't really it wasn't a Spider-Man villain that he had to take on, but like the fact that, you know, that he just doesn't have enough time for everything. And it shows with like the pizza and having to go to, you know, the play. I like the little car chase scene. I think it's hilarious with those 2 kids when it's like, oh, like, how are you able to do that? He's like, I just ate my vegetables. That's great. The spin-off game that came out of this one too was amazing. I fucking love the spin-off game. Like I said, the only thing with Spider-Man in these ones is that Toby doesn't quip enough, and it irritates me that he doesn't quip enough in these movies. He just goes, hold on, Mary Jane, hang on. Like, I'm just like, fucking quip, bro, say something. Like, I think that's what really holds this movie down for me, is that he just doesn't play a Spider-Man to the T. But everything else is just phenomenal. Everything else is great. I think just him not giving me the quips and that Spider-Man feel is the problem. He seems like tough instead of, you know, quippy and wanting to do things fun.
I don't agree with that. I honestly feel like he does quip, and when it's time to get serious,
one quip. Say one quip right now.
Well, he's talking to Goblin, and then he tells Jameson to shut up. That's a quip. He's like, Mom and Dad are talking for right now, in a very not tense, emotional scene, but he
said it in the most like asshole way though, like in the asshole New Yorker way.
How do you? I honestly think if you're
like
quipping, you're
like
kind of being a gloating asshole about it.
No, when you're quipping, you're kind of doing it in a playful manner where it's like, yeah.
So you're telling me when Andrew was talking to that cop and he takes the gun from him and he's like, I just did 99% of your job. That's technically a quip, but he's coming off as an asshole.
But when he delivered it, it was fun and playful. Like, I just did, what do you call it? Like, really? Because he was still mad at the fact that he was, you know, not being able to nab his guy because the cops was being in the way and he shot at him. So he gave him a sarcastic remark, but it was in a playful, fun way where, like, he threw the gun and everything like that. But when Tobey Maguire does shit, he means business. Like, I will fuck you up. Like, the way he delivers it is like, I will beat the shit out of you.
We call it when he's talking about when he's talking to Sandman. He's like, was he in the back of the bank car or whatever it's called, the truck, when he's like, "You must be new. I'm the sheriff around these parts." That's a quip right there. And then he shuts up and he gets his ass beat.
Okay, that was one. But he doesn't say. That's what I'm saying. The delivery about it isn't fun and playful. He's just like, "I don't think you heard. I'm the sheriff around these parts," or whatever. And then he gets his ass handed to. And that was just basically it. But if it was like Andrew Garfield's quips, his are quippy. The way he emotes is amazing. I think.
When
think of a quip.
While you think about that, when the first time he goes to stop Otto Octavius and the experiment's getting out of control, he's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm pulling the plug." That was a quip, and then he pulls the plug and kind of fails.
He didn't say it in a quip thing. He was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm pulling the plug." Like he said it in a way where like immediate danger was happening, not even in a fun, quippy way.
I think that was meant to be
No, none of he doesn't say anything in a fun, quippy way.
Yeah, he does.
No.
Yeah.
I just don't think that he plays Spider-Man in a fun way, and I think that's what I think he plays him in a more serious kind of tone, and I think they try to balance that out with Bully Maguire in Spider-Man 3, and I just think it failed horribly. Yeah, because I don't know. I just think that his Spider-Man needed work. I think everything else was great. I just think the quips and everything were lacking. There was no like comedic humor out of it. Not even like even the fight scenes in like TASM when he's like when he is fighting with the lizard and he is doing those little quips or whatever, like he's jumping around, he's playing, and then obviously you want more seriousness in your fight, but at the same time that's how Spider-Man's style is, and they took that to, obviously Sam Raimi's a serious kind of director, so he's going to take those fight scenes seriously, and he's not going to put all those quips in there. That just wasn't in his arsenal, which is fine. He's not a funny guy. But he did make for an entertaining Spider-Man movie, and that's why I put this one at number 2.
No.
He's just not a funny guy. He just can't do comedy like that, and that's fine.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But here we are, Josh, at the intersection where we say our number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to say about the other 3 first? Might as well. Or you want to wait until after you say number 1?
You said. I'm sorry. Give me your last 3 again.
My is Amazing Spider-Man 1,
yes,
No Way Home, and then Spider-Man 2.
I do think No Way Home is too high.
Obviously, you think No Way Home is too high.
But TASM should be a little higher. Like, honestly, I think you probably could have swapped them and it would have been fine. TASM deserves more respect, I think.
Yes, I would say TASM should be a little bit more up there storytelling-wise, but I think that they really drew me in with No Way Home with the whole nostalgia bait and everything. So I think that's why I put it up a little bit higher. I think the nostalgia bait did play seeing Tobey Maguire back, even though I didn't really like his trilogy, like more than other people's trilogies.
Yeah,
I think that it was still a treat to see him back in that role.
Yeah,
and then
that should make me cry.
Yeah, and to see Andrew Garfield come back, I thought that was great.
That should make me cry.
I think that this one just really played on that nostalgia, made sense when it came to like Doctor Strange being in the middle of it all, and I think they did a good job. I can't say that they did terribly. That's why I feel like I can put it at this spot. But yeah. And what was your top 3?
It was,
or 4 through 2?
Yeah, 4 through 2. I'll tell you right now. Give me a second. Well, it was Spider-Man 3, and then it was Spider-Man, and then it was TASM.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 is way too high. That shit's way too high. There's no reason for you to have it that high. That's like the worst offender in a Spider-Man movie, and that's like the highest you can. Like, why would you put it that high?
Because I find it enjoyable.
Because I'm telling you, it's the hip thrust, bro. I'm telling you,
very hypnotizing. It's just I don't know. I like I said, I can acknowledge its faults, but honestly, I think it has more W's than
problems.
Than the trilogy. Watts' trilogy. John Watts.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 to me is just it's not. Yeah, I gotta like chalk that up to like childhood trauma. I think I was traumatized.
Yeah, you were interfered.
I was traumatized by studio interference, and that's the shit that sucks.
Yeah.
But I guess we're here, and I guess we're at this point where you can go ahead. Actually, we'll say it together.
Yeah.
1. I'm so scared. Oh, I kind of configure what it is, but okay. 1. All right, you go first. Just go for
it. What? No. Well,
you first, and I'll say mine's after. before you start
My
speaking?
first one is Spider-Man 2.
The Raimi trilogy?
Raimi trilogy.
And my number one is Mark Webb's Amazing Spider-Man 2. And look, man, we're on totally different sides of the spectrum, but I feel like we're the same deep down inside. I feel like we both just have a love for Spider-Man, you know? Before you fucking just try to thrash me.
This list was, I mean, built off the love for Spider-Man. It's
Right.
just they all have places in the heart. It's just when it comes to ranking them, they got to fall in line.
Yeah, which one's the redheaded stepchild we get?
Basically.
For me, that's
Oh my God.
you know, go check out the last episode if you guys want to know which one that one is. But look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't mind the parents. I love the suit in that Spider-Man movie. It brings it up 10 times for me because as a kid, I remember playing the Ultimate Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and that suit seems directly inspired by that. I love the quips that he throws in this one. Like I said, it's still a problem with the Peter Parker part. I think they didn't truly nail both sides until Tom Holland came along. But I think for what it's worth, the charisma that he brought to the table, the charisma that Goblin brought to the table,
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx as Electro, I know a lot of people say, oh, he's blue. I personally like that take.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed seeing him like that. The Gwen and Peter love thing, amazing to me. It sucks because you know that it's studio interference, and I think it's because this one's near and dear to my heart that I can overlook the studio interference. I know for a fact that at one point Mary Jane Watson was supposed to be introduced at one point throughout that movie,
Yeah.
and they just added scenes that were they were supposed to be brought back together for the ending, and then they were gonna push her to the third one. But I think it would have worked better the other way because at least then he would have kind of moved on, and then it would have been more heartbreaking towards the end when that scene had happened. If you know he was falling for somebody else, and then he, you know, the one that he loved or whatever, you know, bites the dust like that.
Yeah.
But I still think it made for an impactful scene. The scene is beautiful. The CGI is great in this movie. The swinging is fucking insane. TASM 1 turned to 10. I don't know, man. There's no L's in this movie. I can't. Besides studio interference. That's outside.
I can understand. I can understand the love and the passion for it. Because after watching TASM 1, you would really think like TASM 2 is right behind it. But for me, it's just where it falls, man. Because all that stuff I can't ignore. I can't ignore the studio interference. I can't ignore the bad parent plot line I don't like.
It's not a bad parent plot line.
Well,
Stop saying
to
that.
me, it's
Just
bad.
say-
To me, it's bad.
Just say parent plot line.
To me, it's bad. If you're indifferent, you're indifferent. But it's just I can't overlook that stuff. Even as beautiful as the movie is, because I can acknowledge that it is very beautiful. It has
that bridge
the same
scene with the webs and the "I love you"
Yeah.
or whatever, and the
It's
sunset.
a great love story. I can acknowledge this. Yes,
Wow,
like
wow.
it is everything that TASM 1 was. It just felt cluttered and again had dusty ass studio interference on it, and that's just where it falls because of all that stuff. And like I would have loved to give it higher, but I just couldn't. But I get the love for it. I do. I understand. Spider-Man 2 taking top spot though. Honestly, it's just something that like it makes me feel good after watching that movie. Like I can't put my finger on it. It's something that an emotion I feel afterward is like satisfied. Like after everything that Spider-Man does in this movie, Peter Parker does, every decision where he does something and then something immediately backfires, like him choosing to be Spider-Man over Mary Jane, even though he wants to be with Mary Jane. Harry finding out that Peter is this person that he thinks murdered his dad, but Peter having to brush it off because he has other shit to do, like save Mary Jane and stop Otto Octavius and this and that. The point of him not being able to confess to Mary Jane that he loves her or whatever, taking away his powers, like I know that sounds silly, but I love that so much because it's just another mental barrier that he had on top of, you know, not being able to pay rent and this and that. It'd be almost coming to be homeless.
My boy couldn't get pussy. So he got mad and lost his powers.
It wasn't because he couldn't get pussy. Okay, that's not it.
He couldn't get used up MJ roast beef pussy.
You're dumb. He just, I just love it so much. And the swinging here again, amazing. That train scene, amazing. The suit, amazing. Like, it's so good. Such a good movie.
I will say that scene where the car gets thrown into the window when they're about to like kiss and all that stuff is still and forever will be. I mean, fucking what was it? Across the Into the Spider-Verse copied it. Mm-hmm. It's a great scene. It's a beautiful scene. I think it was well made. The CGI does get wonky when he carries Mary Jane away into the buildings, but you know, little nitpick from yours truly.
Whatever.
The fight scene, the train is still iconic. James Franco's inclusion was pretty good, but could have probably been unnecessary in my opinion. Maybe could have focused a little bit more on the whole love affair, or maybe even had introduced Gwen Stacy in that movie, and then you know brought back James Franco for a harder hitting threequel. But I like the way that this movie ended too. I can't say that it ended satisfying for me because I felt like that should have been the last scene in his trilogy, if that makes sense. I feel like him getting the girl, him swinging off to, you know, save the city, it was great. And me knowing that there was another movie coming behind it, growing up, I was like, oh yeah, this was perfect, but why didn't they just stop here? You know, it's kind of like, it's that Empire Strikes Back syndrome, you know, when the sequel's better than the first one, and you think that it should just end right here. I even thought Empire Strikes Back should have probably ended where, you know, where it was at too. But then, you know, the third one comes out and, you know, it's not as loved as the second one, or it can never hold a matchstick to it. And so I think if it would have ended there and it would have just been that 2-pack, it would have made for a more satisfying ending. But me knowing that there was more coming, I I guess in a way, if you just want to watch those two, you can feel satisfied by the end of it. But then you know that there's some egregious shit around the corner waiting in part 3.
Egregious shit, goddamn. Yeah, but I don't know. I just really love this movie. It does a lot, and I really love every single aspect of it. Like, I have no gripes with it. That's how bad it is. And again, TASM 1 and this one can duke it out forever in my mind about it being the best, because both invoke a very odd feeling that just makes me feel like it delivered. You know what I mean? Like, you ever watch a superhero movie and you feel like goddamn, if you feel like goddamn, like that movie made me feel really good. Like, I love that this superhero movie delivered everything and more, right? You ever felt that? Yeah, like, am I talking crazy? Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
I know what you mean. I felt that before too, but it's just not with this movie.
Both,
I think I felt that with TASM 2, because even with like me not getting a TASM 3, which felt so bad and everything, and that's why I put this one at number 1, is because he had that full arc within the couple of movies where, you know, he was down bad. He had to get back up. He lost the love of his life, and then he was getting right back on the horse by the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it teased some bigger things happening, but it kind of reminds me of like what Zack Snyder did with Justice League. You know, having those great thread lines, kind of, you know, gonna show you what was gonna happen, but then cut short. Yeah. But I think if it stopped where it's at right now, it still leaves you with that wonder, but then you have the little inclusion of what happened with No Way Home, and that's what makes you want a TASM 3. And I think that's why this movie's so high up on my list too, is that there's still room for more story, and at the same time, it could just be done right there too.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's interesting, man. It's crazy, because I think all the other ones can they leave me indifferent, if that makes sense. These two are the only ones where I feel like man, like they don't just capture Spider-Man. I feel like they capture the essence of comic book movies and what they should do, and they should leave you feeling good. I feel
Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
Well, Spider-Man 2 and TASM 1. My first and second slot.
Oh, okay.
Because I told you, like, they can fight for it, but man, like they are just the embodiments of what I feel a superhero movie should aim for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with TASM 1. I would say 100% the story was pretty good depending on how you looked at it. But I think TASM 2 has to take the cake for me only because regardless of anything, I still feel like that one had like a full arcing moment between, especially with if anything you could take out of it, that love romance between Gwen and Andrew, like that shit is fucking gold.
Yeah, that shit's beautiful.
I love the relationship they have. I like that he basically went crazy without her. It was nice, and even him looking over her shoulder, when she wasn't paying attention, and then at the end of the day, still not being able to save her life, like that shit was pretty sad. Yeah, and then it made for a great threequel, and that's why that one's on my top 5 because of Watts and whatever happened. So I don't know, man. I think we're obviously in two different boats. I think that you are one of those kids that really loved the Raimi trilogy. You grew up with it, and I think nostalgia plays a good chunk into yours. And I think a lot of people noticed too that I also play a lot of nostalgia into mine as well, because Mark Webb's movies for me are the best for me. Where Raimi's for you is probably like you would probably prefer those over watching Webb's, right? And you would prefer Raimi's over Watts, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure Webb's and Raimi's can go hand in hand, but we can both agree that the Watts trilogy can just stay firmly with the MCU,
Can
though.
suck it. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad.
I don't think, like I said, I think that there is a repeatery offendery when it comes to the Watts trilogy, but I don't think it's that severe to the point where it shouldn't have a seat at the table. I think you make it sound like those movies shouldn't have a seat at the table.
Homecoming and Far From Home, probably not. No Way Home kind of earned its slot at the table with all that shit, but like I said, can you really ignore it? Like, if that's the golden child, can you really ignore the first 2 failed attempts? I guess in my eyes.
Then how does that feel when it comes down to having the bastard child at the end and the 2 gems in the front for you?
Oh yeah, Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 1, and then Spider-Man 3. No, like you can look at Spider-Man 3 as the bastard child. I still do. It doesn't hold up as well as the second one, and the first one is obviously better than the third one. But all 3 of them together still tell a cohesive story, if that makes sense. It all comes full circle because I think they tell that cohesive story pretty well.
Top 3 villains?
All 3 of them, like Spider-Man villains, like from the movies.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, obviously, and I would say Michael Keaton's Vulture, just so I could sprinkle it out.
Okay.
I did like Electro.
Vulture be number 1?
No, Willem Dafoe Goblin.
Oh, okay. William, and then Doc Ock.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. I would say. Damn, this is hard. Goblin first, especially what happened with No Way Home.
Yeah.
I gotta give it to him first. Flowers where flowers is due. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people don't like him, but I genuinely like the Lizard's character. Him looking for perfection, and imperfection. It's great. And then it could be a tie between Doc Ock or Sandman, because I kind of like Sandman's arc too. I think me growing up and having that father relation to it, I think it really made it bigger for me than what it was when I was a kid. So I would say that, and then Doc Ock fourth, if anything. But I think they could fight for third.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because Willem Dafoe does his shit, and like even with what he does in No Way Home, like I still feel he does really great in the first one, and Doc Ock, honestly, oh man, he's so good. I really can't nudge him away. I know in No Way Home they made him look like a dummy. Or I say look like a dummy, but he wasn't as menacing, I guess, if that makes any sense. And then, Vulture, I did find him very menacing. Again, a highlight of Homecoming. And then everyone else is calling it falls in line. Like, I did like Electro. I did like Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin a little bit. James Franco's Green Goblin is nice, or New Goblin, whatever you want to call him. Venom, and then Mysterio.
One thing that I brought up and you didn't really answer is and I kind of want you to rank your Spider-Man after this too, if you can for me. But like, what I said previously that I feel like Toby embodies a good Peter Parker, but not a good Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield to me embodies a good Spider-Man, but not a necessarily great Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And where Tom Holland for me embodies both.
Mm.
Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? What do you think?
I don't know if I agree to a certain extent.
How would you see it?
Because I feel everyone says that. I feel like everyone sees Tom Holland as both best of both worlds, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because the maybe like I said, and this is why I try to avoid comics in general when talking about these things, because these movies are based off thousands of years of comics at this point, hundreds of years, and it's just like what the fuck, you know? Like how can you really just pick one iteration and be like, no, he's following this to a T? And I'm sure to a certain extent, Tom Holland's Spider-Man plays both pretty well, but I think if I had to pick one that does kind of both very well, it would be Andrew Garfield. I think he manages to do both pretty well. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is pretty they do what they can, but you can tell it's very dated also. Like the nerd in 2002 isn't the nerd of 2012, and then the nerd of 2012 isn't the nerd of 2017 when Homecoming came out.
Yeah.
So they're two different things, but I don't know if Tom Holland for me embodies both. I think he's a little too wimpy for me, if that makes sense. It probably would have hammered the idea home if there was a Flash to exploit that wimpiness, but he kind of just felt like a loser. Not really like a nerd, but like more like a loser. He wasn't really anyone's punching bag, if that makes any sense.
Oh, so loserish,
Yeah.
not nerdish.
Yeah. Like he hung out with Ned or whatever, but like they didn't feel like nerds to me.
I felt like he was a nerd. I felt like Tom Holland was a nerd. I think he was great. If you can rank Spider-Man, how would you rank him? The best portrayal of Spider-Man. Go.
What?
1, 2, 3.
God damn, that is a tall order. The best.
It's easy.
Easy for you.
Yeah. Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and Toby. If I want to go down Peter Parker's, I'll do fucking, I would say Toby, Tom, and then Andrew for Peter's.
Spider-Man, Andrew, Toby, Tom, and then Peter's Toby, Andrew, Tom.
Still same order? I think you said in the same order.
Did I know?
Yeah.
No, Spider-Man is Andrew, Toby, Tom.
Oh, okay.
And then Peter's Toby, Andrew, Tom. I switched.
Oh, you put Tom at both bottoms. Why do you hate this man so much? You sound. You just want to stab him.
I don't want to stab nobody. No sharp as knife.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the best way I can put it. I really don't have any gripes. I feel like Tom at the moment has the best option to redeem himself. Obviously, Spider-Man 4 can totally like be the best of him, or
yeah,
tank.
but with the MCU, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's
how
a
good
big
it's
if.
gonna be.
That's a big if.
Yeah, I don't know how
but
good it could
the
be.
path that they left them on in No Way Home leaves potential.
So you think he still has a shot?
Well, yeah, obviously I think he's very redeemable. If Andrew Garfield shows up in Venom 3 and proves that he can also be redeemable, then shit, this whole list can change.
That's true. That's true. And if you guys want to see that, let us know. Let us know. But I don't know, man. What do you have any more for me before we start closing out this episode?
Rank suits real quick.
Oh, suits. Well, it depends because everybody like basically changed suits. Top 3 suits, I'd say.
Okay.
Top 3 suits.
Okay.
I would say, right off top, pop. Did Toby's didn't really change, did it?
Yeah. It changed between the first and the second one, yes. And then in the third one, the lines just got more defined. The webbing around the suit.
It was just more like popped.
It was more silver.
Mm.
But in the second one, personally, I think the second suit looks best.
I want to say the third one looks the best for me.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, but out of his trilogy. But if I wanted to rank them, I would say I love Andrew Garfield's suit in TASM 2. I like Raimi's third Spider-Man suit in Spider-Man 3, and then I liked Tom's what suit is that one? Fuck. Not the first one. I hate the first one he wore. I didn't really like the one in Civil War either. It was the one that he made with the black.
Oh, the Far From Home suit.
Yeah, red and black. There you go. I like that one. I really think Spider-Man looks better with some black on him.
Well, yeah, it does. I think the one thing that throws me off about that suit though is the white spider in the back.
Yeah, you're right about that one. That one's yeah, but it's because it's the black suit, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, they need something defined, and like Spider-Man's natural design is more blue on the sides and red everywhere else.
I would say right now, I hate the No Way Home flip suit shit. That shit was disgusting.
Oh, where he like makes it into like
he just flips it inside out.
The
yeah,
tech thing. Yeah, that would probably be the worst one.
That's the worst one, 100%. I would say worse than TASM 1's suit for sure, and I would even put TASM 1 down there too. It's the eyes, man. The eyes, they fucked it up.
I would say Spider-Man 2's Raimi suit, just because it looked red and blue, but it was like a dark blue where in the sun it looked black. I loved that shit because it was a mix of both. So that's number one. Number two, Andrew Garfield's second one.
Okay.
And then I'm indifferent on Tom's suits. I'm not too sure because there was a lot going on in them. I don't like the first one. I don't like the one from Homecoming or Civil War. The red and black one, again, like, it looks fine, but it's just the white spider, and I feel like his head looks big for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I know he only wears it for a little bit, but I think if I had to pick one, it would be the one with the gold that he wears in No Way Home. That would be third spot.
The mixture of the Iron Spider suit with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really thought that one was ugly too. Who had the better Aunt May? Not Hot Wise. I don't want you to say Raimi's Spider-Man.
No. Raimi's.
Grandma had it going on.
No.
I think, for me at least, I think Tasm's Aunt May was the best one. I kind of felt like she felt the more mommy. Like, not like, oh, she's mommy, but like she felt like she babied
mom-esque.
him. Yeah. And
don't say mom-y.
Yeah, sorry. It has that mom-esque to it.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's... Yeah, I'm not too sure. Because I like Raimi's Aunt May to me felt the best one because she felt like that guiding hand towards the end.
I keep it a buck. I feel like she was a bitch too.
What the fuck?
She was rude, man. Oh, it's your fault that look, in Spider-Man 2, man, he has a whole emotional moment where he says to her like, I think I was the one that let him go. And what does she fucking do? Does not talk to him for days. No, that's okay, man. Like, you know, but I'm going to need a couple days off. She was just like, get out.
She walks away to like come to the realization.
Still, like,
what do you mean still? You find out
this older lady. She should understand, like, how at first she kind of understood when in Spider-Man 3 with the whole like ring thing, like she understood that, but you're telling me that the passing, especially that it's been a few years after, right? And she still just gives him the cold shoulder when it's been eating him up inside for a while.
That's why he lied and held it from her without actually telling her for years. I think that's completely valid, her reaction. And then he goes to her to apologize and stuff, and she's like, it's fine, like it's in water under the bridge type shit. And then she gives him that emotional speech to go and try and be Spider-Man again. There's no way she's a bitch. There's no way.
What the fuck? Right after that, yeah, she's like, oh, I'm over it. But then she's moving, right? She didn't even tell him that he was moving, making him feel guilty. Like, oh yeah, we're not talking, but I'm gonna still move. Oh, why didn't you tell me you were gonna move? Oh, you're a busy boy. You don't need it. Plus, I have this guy. It's like, you could have easily made up with him. You could have easily called him over to help you move, but you didn't. And then right after that, they have the bank scene. So all of a sudden, they're good, and now I'm gonna help you get a loan. The fuck? The hell? And a free toaster at it as well. It's crazy. Remember in the newspaper?
Well, no.
He was like, "Oh, that was like a minimum deposit or whatever."
I think you're getting your scenes mixed up again.
Am I?
Because that bank scene happens before all.
Before the whole,
before the reveal and all that. Yeah, because by then Peter had lost his powers and stuff, or quote unquote lost his powers.
With the reveal?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And then right after that, it cuts to MJ kissing what's his name, like she kissed Peter or Spider-Man or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but still builds up on that. Man.
No,
Still.
I don't think so. She was just. I think she embodied more of that figure to be like now that Uncle Ben's gone, she's just that mother-like thing. Second place would go to Mark Webb, Tasm, Aunt May.
Okay, but you liked that Aunt May better,
Yes.
truly.
And then third place again, just because I feel like they didn't know what to do with her, and then at the end they made her this pivotal point for Peter's character. It felt random as fuck to me.
I just felt like she was too friendly. Like I felt like she was.
Her and Happy's relationship threw me the fuck off. I was like, "What the hell is this?"
I'm like, "What the fuck? You're his mentor, but you're smacking his auntie? Like, what the fuck, my boy? Like, have some shame,
have some decency, my boy."
Like
Tony was after that too.
It's like, Tony's dead. Here's Aunt May, smack. It's like, hey, whoa, hey,
And then
Happy, what are you doing?
By the end, he's trying to dump her. And he's just like, I can be flexible or whatever, and like trying to plead with her. I'm like, bro, she denied you. Go away.
Walk away. Yeah, there's that that whole dynamic was just weird for me. Fucking, was it the second part where they break up, or was it the third one?
It was in
the second one is when he goes out of town and everything, and he's over here just beating cheeks while he's like on vacation.
That would be the best way to sum it. Yeah, he's like, why are you whispering or whatever? Or he hears his Aunt May. He's like, are you with my Aunt May? He's like, yeah. And then she's like, who's that? He's like, it's Peter. Talk to him. Yeah, he was straight macking on his aunt.
Damn. Yeah, Antonio was trying to hit it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of felt like a piece of meat throughout this thing. She was eye candy, and then they were like, "Oh,
she has to be important now.
Eye candy's dying, so I feel so bad." Okay, and then I guess who played a better best friend? We can't go off of Harry Osborn, but who played the best friend?
James Franco. James Franco is Harry. There's no way. I think they tried to give you that relationship, but because they shoehorned him in last minute in TASM 2, it didn't feel as organic. And then, I fucking hated Ned.
Yeah,
as as that sounds.
Yeah, I don't really like Ned either. I think he was just a weird addition to the whole thing. I think TASM 2's Harry Osborn was just... I liked him. It's just James Franco being able to flesh out for all three movies, show off that sweet side, the playful side, the mischievous side, all that stuff. Yeah. Like, he was able to play that well. The whole turning behind and giving him that evil look when he was eating that whatever the fuck he was eating.
Pie. How's the pie?
The
so
pie.
Good.
Oh yeah. And then when he was like, "Oh yeah," and she kissed me or whatever, and did the whole lip rubbing thing, I was like, "Okay."
He was a menace.
Yeah,
he was on demon time.
He's a real asshole.
Yeah,
bro.
he was on demon time.
Like, he literally was like, "Yeah, I beat MJ's cheeks," and Peter's like, "Oh, like the fuck, bro."
Like, how you like that, Spider?
How you like that, Spider-Man?
Fuck you, Spider-Man. Oh goodness.
So there's that, and then
what
else can we compare? I guess the better MJ or love interest. I gotta give it to Emma Stone.
It has to be Gwen.
Emma Stone. Okay,
for sure.
We're all in agreement there.
Yeah,
too easy. We can all agree Kristen Dunst is not good.
Yeah.
Will she be bottom of the list?
Yeah,
behind Zendaya.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, we can agree there. Very good. And
Tasm had the best Flash, dude. I wish we would have kept them. Like, I wish that Agent Venom spinoff would have happened, and it would have been him.
Yeah, he was great.
He was so good as the Flash.
What about Joe Manganiello?
What? Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, what's his name? Joe Manganiello.
Joe Mangelo?
Yeah, Mangelo.
He was good, but I mean, we just didn't see enough of him. I guess he was that classic bully, and then he left. I feel like they fleshed out the TASM's Peter and him pretty well, and then even when Peter was humiliating him, you were still like, damn, you know. And then at the end, towards the end, he goes up and he's like, I'm sorry about your uncle, whatever. And Peter's still angry about it. And then at the end, they show him being a nice fanboy about it, just like in the comics. He's a fanboy of Spider-Man, and he's like, that's crazy. He's a crazy dude. And then like he felt right. He felt like they got him right. And then in the MCU, he's nowhere near that. And I'm like, I can't take him serious.
Yeah, no, they did him dirty in the MCU, 100%. But yeah, man, I think that's everything. I think we know where we stand.
Yeah.
I guess it was a better conversation than I thought. I thought you were gonna really go on, but I think that's gonna be saved for the Star Wars conversation that we will be having one day, and I think that's where it's gonna really bring it out of you.
It's gonna be three-parter.
This was
for
a
sure.
test trial for him, all right, to see how good of a composure he had. He kind of lost it in the first episode, so go check that one out. But this one,
It's because you were smoking meth. No, I'm not.
yeah, you're smoking like 3 packs, my boy. That's crazy. You literally said Toby's better than Tom Holland. I don't know what to say, but we want to know your guys' thoughts out there. We want to know we want to know your guys' rankings for Spider-Man. We want to know who you guys think is the better Spider-Man, who deserves another movie, because we did hear too, Spider-Man 4 might be coming out. If the strike is over, we're hearing TASM 3 might be happening. I mean, all these rumors, we're hearing a Spider-Man 4 is happening with Tom Holland and with Tobey Maguire, separate.
Could be happening.
Tobey might be coming back for Secret Wars. Let us know where you guys want to see your Spider-Man next, whichever one you guys claim as your Spider-Man. There's 3 rebooted ones. With that, though, Josh, let them know where they can talk to us, where they can let us know all their answers, where they can go ahead and let us know what movies you guys want us to rank, what movies you guys want us to review, and if you guys want to support us in a big way.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at FIlmBros Podcast. We post when new episodes are up. You can hit us up there for any news or movies you want us to cover. Listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, things like that. Subscribe to our Buzzsprout. It's kind of like a Patreon. You help us grow. We recognize you for helping us grow with shout-outs on episodes. And there's that. And on the bonus side, you get perks when you do. Like, things only meant for subscribers type stuff. And then subscribe to our YouTube at FIlmBros Podcast. That one's free. So
yeah, and with that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.